The signs of the love of God. Many claim to love God, but each should examine himself as to the genuineness of the love which he professes. The first test is this: he should not dislike the thought of death, for no friend shrinks from going to see a friend. The prophet said, "Whoever wishes to see God, God wishes to see him." It is true a sincere lover of God may shrink from the thought of death coming before he has finished his preparation for the next world, but if he is sincere, he will be diligent in making such preparation. The second test of sincerity is that a man should be willing to sacrifice his will to God's, should cleave to what brings him nearer to God, and should shun what places him at a distance from God. The fact of a man sinning is no proof that he does not love God at all, but it proves that he does not love him with his whole heart. The Saint Fudhale said to a certain man, "If anyone asks you whether you love God, keep silent. For if you say, 'I do not love him,' you are an infidel, and if you say, 'I do,' your deeds contradict you." The third test is that the remembrance of God should always remain fresh in a man's heart without effort, for what a man loves he constantly remembers, and if his love is perfect he never forgets it. It is possible, however, that, while the love of God does not take the first place in a man's heart, the love of God may, for love is one thing and the love of love another. The fourth test is that he will love the Quran, which is the word of God, and Muhammad, who is the prophet of God. If his love is really strong, he will love all men, for all are God's servants, nay, his loves will embrace the whole creation. For he who loves anyone loves the works he composes and his handwriting. The fifth test is, he will be covetous of retirement and privacy for purposes of devotion. He will long for the approach of night, so that he may hold intercourse with his friend without let or hindrance. If he prefers conversation by day and sleep at night to such retirement, then his love is imperfect. God said to David, "Be not too intimate with men, for two kinds of persons are excluded from my presence, those who are earnest in seeking reward and slack when they obtain it, and those who prefer their own thoughts to the remembrance of me. The sign of my displeasure is that I leave such to themselves." In truth, if the love of God really takes possession of the heart, all other love is excluded. One of the children of Israel was in the habit of praying at night, but, observing that a bird sang in a certain tree very sweetly, he began to pray under that tree, in order to have the pleasure of listening to the bird. God told David to go and say to him, "Thou hast mingled the love of a melodious bird with the love of me. Thy rank among the saints is lowered." On the other hand, some have loved God with such intensity that, while they were engaged in devotion, their houses have caught fire and they have not noticed it. A sixth test is that worship becomes easy. A certain saint said, "During one space of 30 years I performed my night devotions with great difficulty, but during a second space of 30 years they became a delight." When love to God is complete, no joy is equal to the joy of worship. The seventh test is that lovers of God will love those who obey him and hate the infidels and the disobedience. As the Quran says, they are strenuous against the unbelievers and merciful to each other. The prophet once asked God and said, "O Lord, who are thy lovers?" And the answer came, "Those who cleave to me as a child to its mother, take refuge in the remembrance of me as a bird seeks the shelter of its nest, and are as angry at the sight of sin as an angry lion who fears nothing."